Hi everyone, this is Lauren coming at you from the break zone with a deck tech video going over the list that Matthew Okimoto took to win the Boston Crystal Cup over the weekend. So the name of this deck is In Loving Memory of Rudy. It's an Ice Earth deck that if you're not familiar with it, if you didn't witness the stream, I definitely advise you to do so. Great deck, works really well against Ice, Lightning, also has good matchups there, and was even able to eke out the two crucial wins in the finals against Mono Water Monsters. So let's go over some of the cards, and hopefully it'll help you decide if you really like this deck or not. All right, first off, we got Dal Luma. He's been great against Mono Lightning, and he's still great. Next up, we've got Terra. So with her special, you're able to take on all these kinds of aggressive decks that can play against you. If they dull their forwards and got two of them, go ahead and play that Terra, get the special off, or even ping them if they're a little bigger than 8k. You could also search her out with both Setzer and Sid, and she counts for that Final Fantasy VI package with Luck. Next up, we've got Orphan. He's it's definitely a late game finisher, and being able to dual freeze two forwards is great. And if you're trying to race you out, then every time you attack, you'll be able to freeze them and keep going on the attack. That's going to be great. Next, we've got Gapal to go over the top. If you're trying to finish that game, sometimes that's all you need. Then we've got Earthwall. He is one of the best cards in this deck. He's one of the best cards in Opus 5. If you don't have it, go ahead and go out there and get it. It's an amazing card, all those abilities. And surprisingly enough, one of the abilities that initially, when I looked over the Opus 5 cards, I was like, well, 3,000 damage for Dull 4 is not that big of a deal. But you match that up with Ice and all those effects that can damage Dull forwards, such as Terra, Celis, Sid Reigns, and all of a sudden you're taking out like 7 to 10Ks fairly easily, actually. Otherwise, being able to finish off the game and preventing EX burst from affecting your attack phase can be game breaking. Next up, we've got Genesis. He's been a force since Opus 3, and he's still great. You can search him out with Jesse and Mog Mobius, or even bring him back with the Vault. So sometimes you just need a dull freeze one forward to go through, and he can definitely get the job done. Next, we've got Vayne. If your opponent starts playing those 5 or 6 CP forwards, go ahead and slap down that Vayne, and that's going to take care of them. Next, we've got Celis. She works for that FF6 package to get Lock to discard a card from your opponent's hand when it enters the field, and also being able to work in combination with Terra, Wall, Glacia Labolas, or even Sid Reigns can take out forwards and give you a lot of value. Setzer is part of that Sid Setzer Final Fantasy VI package to get the lock to be active with enough Final Fantasy VI forwards. And when you're trying to ramp up to get 5 characters, ice characters to have your Orphan effect to go off, that can definitely get the job done. Next we've got Locke. He's been great since he came out. And being able to have him enter the field, discard a card from your opponent's hand, and every time he attacks, make them discard another one, or even sometimes play that special and finish off the game can be game breaking. Sid Reigns as a 2 of. He works in combination with, as I mentioned before, like Terra, Wall, Celis, and heck, even if they do some funky stuff with like Dal Luma targeting it or blocking it, then Sid Reigns can go ahead and finish some dull forwards off. Renoa, she's been great since Opus 2. She's more of a game ender, or being able to stop that aggression that your opponent might play against you. And we've got the Emperor, which was one of the key cards that actually won Matthew Okimoto the finals. Being able to prevent your opponent from catching back up by trying to draw cards through all your discard. And if they play a blocker and think, hey, you know what, I'll be just fine. Go ahead and play that Cagnasso and try to draw a card. The Ice Emperor is gonna punish you for drawing that card. Dull freeze that Cagnasso and could go for the win. Next we got Glacia Labolas, which is a dull freeze, discard, dull damage, like everything Ice wants, it provides. So this is an amazing summon, and it definitely paid off to have three of them in this deck. Hekatonkai. So with this card, if your forwards are dull, frozen, or whatever, aren't hypothetically effective blockers, uh, Hekatonkai can definitely go in there and either trade or even take out forwards. I mean, if they dole down, let's say your Gapal, or you play, if they dole down, dole or freeze your wall or your orphan, you could always play that Hecatonker and take out either their attackers or their blockers. And it's a great card. I mean, it's been great since Overwatch 4 came out, and it's still great in this deck. Next, we got Mateus, a mid to late game card. Sometimes they have a really potent blocker and go ahead and attack with one of your lesser effective forwards and get that Mateus to break that blocker and just go through with the rest. Next, we're going to go over the backups. We've got Jesse being able to fetch that Genesis sometimes can win the game. We've got two Duclarks, which is enough to make your ice forwards bigger, whether they're playing their own backups that give plus 1000 power, or you're trying to just go over their smaller blockers that might be able to match some, like let's say Lock. If they put a 7000 power blocker, putting it down to Duclark will make your Lock at 8000 power, and that sometimes that's gonna allow you to go through. Next we got Sid, part of that Setzer Sid package, and being able to ramp up to get those 5 ice characters for your orphan to be active is gonna be good. 2 of Devout, being able to bring back a combination of anything really, but Wall's definitely one of the big cards that you can bring back. Anything except for Orphan or Setzer, any of your other forwards you can bring back with this. So sometimes you're like, hey, I want to make my guys bigger, bring back a Gapal. Hey, I want to do a Terra special to wipe out part of their board. Go ahead, bring back a Terra, and then use a special by discarding a copy of herself from your hand. Or sometimes you just need to dual freeze something. Go ahead and get that Genesis. Next, we got Shantoto. Anybody playing over aggressively into Shantoto is going to get punished. And Scholar, while initially I thought, hey, you know what, it's not as good as Devout, it brings it to your hand. It's a first turn play, a 2-drop backup, very efficient, and you can actually get back your locks, which can be a game ender. Next, we got a 1 of Jill Nabat. So, talking with Matthew, he doesn't feel that having a 3 of Jill Nabat is always the best choice, and it definitely worked out for him. It's not a card that you always want to play first turn to get no value out of it. It's something that you usually want to do mid to late game if your opponent kind of attacks into it, especially against aggressive matchups. And yeah, sometimes it's going to help you win that race. Next, we got Bard. As a 2-drop, that's great, first turn play, and being able to duel one of a possible blocker is so that your Genesis and Lock can go through, can be exactly what you need at the moment. Next, we've got Monk, staple in Earth decks, and solid 2 CP Earth backup, and the being able to bluff or threaten a combat trick if you have just one card in your hand and they don't know if it's an Earth card or not, can give your opponents all kinds of tough decisions to make. Next, we've got Mog Mobius, being able to search out anything, any forward from your deck. Let's say Orphan, Capal, Genesis, extra Terra for the special, an extra Lock for the special, all those things. I mean, it's such a good early gameplay and mid gameplay or late gameplay that I would definitely recommend that people consider this card in any Earth deck. Last but not least, we got Alodai. So um, its ability to turn into a forward that is similar to Genesis Unlock is really great against the Lightning matchup. So usually Lightning is trying to get that tempo advantage on you by playing Alcid, but the fact that Alodai is a monster, you don't have to worry about it being broken the turn you play you play it. Turning it into a forward after the fact is sometimes enough to deal with either mono lightning or even water players where they're trying to play a CAG, bounce it, and play it again. Alodai is going to be a monster at that time and won't be broken by those shenanigans. So another thing I want to go over is um, Terra and Wall. So normally you think like, well, some of those effects aren't always the best. The 3000 power to a dull forward ping, or Terra's ability to deal 1000 damage to a dull forward. But if your opponent is playing Mono Lightning, they're most likely going to play Ilua. And one of the problems with Ilua is that, yeah, she's 6k, she's haste, but it's also the fact that if you try to target her and remove her, it's it's a pain because the first time you do so, that effect will be negated, whether it's an ability or summon. But being able to have cheap, reusable sources of abilities that can target Ilua is going to be able to take that protective cover off her so that you can just take care of her with a combination of your other cards. So hopefully you liked this deck that went over the winning deck list. To anybody that was a Boston Crystal Cup top 16, congratulations! That was an amazing 2-day tournament. If you haven't done so, go ahead and check out the stream. Square Enix, thank you again for inviting the Break Zone to be there to stream it, to commentate on it. It was amazing, very enjoyable. I highly advise anybody that's getting into the competitive scene to go ahead and go look at those days for all the other Crystal Cups. I mean, not only are the boxes just oh my gosh. I mean, hold on, do I have it here? Yeah, sure, I have one. Let me show it off. Yeah, see that box? Signed by Kageyama? Yeah, this box is awesome. So look forward to some of those boxes coming out, and each Crystal Cup is going to have its own individual box. The next one up will be Shiva, O3 Shiva in Toronto, which is one of the major ice cards that people play. And after that will be Ishtola over at Kansas City. So look forward to that. And the Breakzone will be there to stream those events as well. So thanks again to the Breakzone, to Square Enix, to everybody that showed up in Boston Crystal Cup. Matthew Okimoto, congratulations again. And if you have any cards that you need to buy, go ahead and head over to Magic Tech Games. They're currently running a promotion. Go ahead and use that code ROAD to NATS and get 10% off your order. And catch you next time.